Hey folks, welcome back to the 7-Day Conversion course. I'm your host, Riley Bunce from Studio 909. And yeah, we're turning your website into a conversion machine. In day 3, we're going to focus on psychology-driven headlines. So let's dive straight into it. David Ogilvy writes, your headline is doing 80% of the selling. If it sucks, nothing else matters. Think about it. You have an amazing product, perfect pricing, killer testimonials, but a super boring headline. No one stays long enough to see all of that good stuff. The legendary advertiser, David Ogilvy, said that 80 cents of every dollar spent on an advertisement should be considered spent on the headline, which means it's the most critical for grabbing attention and influencing the audience. A compelling offer promises a benefit, resonates with the audience, and prompts them to act. So here's the headline conversion formula: specific outcome with time frame and without common objection. So why does this work? The specific outcome is because your brain craves some concrete benefit. And when you lay it out simply, it makes it super easy for you to resonate with. When you add the time frame, it creates urgency and makes it more believable. And then without the objection, you're removing their biggest barrier to moving forward with that action. The psychology behind this is that your brain makes decisions based on pain avoidance and pleasure seeking. This formula triggers both instantly. So the 0.05 second rule is basically, in the blink of an eye, your brain determines whether you like something or not. You are able to judge something within a split second, and the same thing applies to websites, right? So you only have a split second to communicate your headline and explain the value that you have to offer. 80% of your web visitors are never even going to scroll past your headline. This being said, it's extremely important to have a killer headline. The problem is that most startups and small businesses have headlines that say nothing about their outcome. A generic example would be revolutionary AI powered platform, or it's time to evolve with a system built for who you're becoming. Could mean anything. A more specific outcome would be cut customer support costs by 40% in 30 days. It's explaining exactly what the benefit is, you're removing the biggest barrier for them, and you're explaining exactly how long it'll take for them to get it. So breaking down this formula a little bit further, specific outcomes are what we're looking to implement, not generic ones. Some examples of weak outcomes would be increase your sales, or grow your business, or improve efficiency. Specific outcomes are way better. They're much more believable for your brain and make you feel enticed to actually move forward with the offer. So get your first 100 customers, build a 10K monthly recurring revenue sales, cut support tickets by 40%. If you can't measure it, it's too vague. All right, so moving on to part 2, the time frame. This creates urgency and believability. No time frame would be something like get more customers with our platform. With the time frame, you're saying something like get your first 100 customers in 30 days. The psychology behind this is with something generic, it feels distant and like you're not actually able to attain it. Whereas with a time frame, it feels much more realistic and something that you're able to grasp on quickly as a result of the urgency. The sweet spot can be anything from 7 to 90 days. You can do immediately or whatever is relevant to your product, but that time frame has been proven to be the most effective. All right, so for part 3, this is looking at reasons why your visitor will object to making that purchase. When we address those common pain points, it makes it much easier for them to move forward with the purchase without hesitation, without spending on ads, without technical skills, without hiring developers, without cold calling, without previous experience. These are all examples of barriers that we're removing by adding them in. So the psychology behind this, we're solving the problem for them and removing their biggest barrier. It makes it a win-win for them and entices them to move forward and learn more about your offer. All right, so now we're going to see the formula in action. Here's a couple examples. So first we have build a 10K monthly recurring revenue software as a sales platform in 90 days without technical skills. We have build a 10K MRR software as a sales. That's the outcome. We're speaking to exactly who it is and what they're going to get. Moving on, we have the time frame. In 90 days. It's easy for them to imagine themselves in 90 days having that 10K MRR software as a sales platform. A lot easier than if we don't have it there and it's just someday, as opposed to, oh, it's immediate in 90 days. In less than 3 months, I'm going to see these results. Finally, we've removed their biggest objection, like no technical skills needed. This makes it so that not only are they imagining it and seeing it within their reach, they're able to tell that, oh, this is for me because I don't have the technical skills. That's my biggest barrier. So we're making it as easy as possible for them to be enticed to move forward, learning more about your offer. Think about it. Nobody has a long attention span these days. We have to capture them as soon as we can, and this formula allows us to do so. Another example for marketing could be get your first 100 customers in 30 days without spending on ads. But the outcome would be first 100 customers, time frame 30 days, and their biggest objection removed, no ad spend required. Here's a couple more examples of the formula in action. We have reach 50K monthly revenue in 60 days without inventory costs. Then consulting, land your first 5K client in 21 days without cold outreach. And for fitness, we have lose 20 pounds in 8 weeks without giving up your favorite foods. Finally, for real estate, we have sell your home in 14 days without realtor commissions. And here on the right, we have an example from Dribble of a really cool design that has a killer headline that really paints a picture for the viewer as to what they're going to get and when they're going to get it. Sometimes you might not be able to fit all of that into your one headline, so it's fine to break it up into your headline, sub-headline, but as long as you have a combination, you're making steps towards converting more customers. All right, so now we're going to do a little psychology lesson real quick, looking at trigger words that help the brain to be more enticed in converting. All right, so first, urgency triggers. These are things like deadline, limited, expires, today, or now. Next, we have curiosity triggers, secret, hidden, surprising, unusual, strange, weird, shocking. Next, benefit triggers, free, proven, guaranteed, easy, quick, simple, instant, automatic. Now, authority triggers, expert, professional, certified, official, exclusive, insider. See how all of these words actually have some type of meaning behind them and provide some type of incentive rather than just being vague and leaving it up to the visitor to depict. A note on this is to only use 1 or 2 of these per headline, not all of them. You're only going to want to apply the most relevant things to your business and ensure that it's all in line with your branding. Speak to your key customer. Don't just put a bunch of copy and paste stuff all over your website that doesn't really talk to anyone. Moving on to common headline mistakes that kill conversions. Mistake number 1, being clever instead of clear. Elaborating on that last point, we're disrupting the paradigm, or the future of messaging, or essentialized. Don't just use one word. Make it super, super clear what it is that you do. I can't stress this enough. Just make it clear. Mistake number 2, leading with features. If you're talking about features, you're doing it wrong. You want to focus on benefit. What's in it for me? Think about the visitor and what they're going to get from your website. Common example of this is people buy a hole in the wall, not a hammer, not a drill. So AI powered analytics dashboard versus see which ads make money in real time. Think about it. So the third mistake is no specific numbers, saying things like increase sales versus add 10K monthly in revenue. And last but not least, we have mistake 4, forgetting the objection. This would be something like learn Spanish fast or learn Spanish in 30 days without boring textbooks. All right, so moving on to something more advanced, we're looking at A/B testing, basically running an experiment to test something on your website to see which performs better. It could be as simple as a word headline or the color of a button. So for this test setup, you're going to be doing a 50-50 split, doing a sample size of minimum 1,000 visitors per variation. So you have one headline on one variation, one headline on the other. Your primary metric is your conversion rate. How many people are moving forward with your offer? Your test duration should be 7 to 14 days minimum. And things that you can test would be more sales versus 10K in revenue, or time frames, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 2 weeks versus 1 month. Another thing you can test is objection removal with or without the objection clause, something like or your money back. And finally, think about testing different trigger words, something like proven versus guaranteed versus secret. All right, so here's a few examples of high converting templates of different headlines for different industries there's going to be a full download link in the assets of this course. Go download that. It's going to be a full list of 47. You can find whatever is most relevant to you, fill in the blanks, and pop that into your website. I'm not going to read all of these because I think you're able to pause the video and do that. But yeah, these should be super helpful for you and make it easy for you if you're struggling. All right, so here's the headline hierarchy in order to have maximum impact in the short time that the visitors are going to be landing on your website and deciding within a split second whether they want to buy from you or not. Your primary headline is going to be that 3-part formula. Your subheadline is going to be adding credibility or expanding on the benefits. So join 10,000 entrepreneurs who have already transformed their business. The supporting copy could be something like addressing skepticism and or providing proof. So Sarah went to 0 to 50K MRR using this exact system. And then all 3 of these work together to build the complete cake. All right, everybody's favorite part, the homework. But this stuff is the most important. This stuff is the stuff that's actually going to give you results. So if you're going to do anything from this stuff, just focus on this. Step 1 is to write 10 headlines. Use the formula, specific outcome, time frame, without objection. Step 2, score each headline from 1 to 10. How specific is the outcome? How believable is it? And how well does it address your objection? How believable is the time frame? Step 3 is to test your top 3. Set up A/B tests for your highest scoring headlines, and in 7 days, report back, see which headline did the best, and use that one to move forward with your website. Here's a quick reference sheet with a bunch of the stuff that we've covered. The slideshow, along with some assets such as the template, will all be in the course assets. So go check that out. So we have the formula and then outcome ideas, time frames, common objections, and then you want to be testing everything. Your gut feeling does not equal what converts. Data wins in the end. Back to my favorite boy, Mr. Sleepy. What we're going to want to be doing today is screenshot your current headline, write 3 new headlines using the formula, and set up your A/B test. Remember, your headline is your first impression. Your elevator pitch and your sales letter all rolled into one. Make them count. One extra note is that if you don't want to spend the money on A/B testing on your actual website or driving traffic, you can always run an Instagram poll and have a couple different options, test it out, ask your audience or whatever platform that you have the largest audience, whether it's LinkedIn or something else, run a poll with those different headlines, asking which one the audience favorite is, and use that one to guide your insights. All right, so common questions. What if my time frame seems too good to be true? Add credibility markers. Results based on 500 plus client case studies. Now, it doesn't need to be this many, but the more the merrier. Next question. Should I always include the objection removal? Test with and without it. Sometimes the outcome plus the time frame is enough. And finally, how long should my headline be? 6 to 12 words is ideal. Clarity beats brevity. Make it quick and easy for them to understand. All right, so that brings us to the end of day 3. Shout out to you if you made it this far. We have 3 more days of breaking down the formula into more specifics, and then finally that advanced flow optimization. It's all super helpful for increasing your conversion. I hope to see you in the next one, and yeah, peace.